Hello everybody and welcome to Bleack&White Tales print number 18. This week with this image I want to talk you about the importance of choices. And the image is an image that I took a few years ago, 2 or 3 years ago, in Borgo San Dalmazzo. It's a small city near Cuneo in the Piedmont region of Italy. And this image was taken at a monument. Actually, this is a monument dedicated to the deportation of Jews. In Borgo San Dalmazzo, there is a small town in a very calm area, if we want, and it was not a big town where there were a lot of events going on during the World War II, but still the 21st of November 43, 329 people were gathered from some concentration camps that were nearby and brought to the train station and put on trains to go as a final destination to Auschwitz. Only 18 of them survived. The 15th February of the year, 1 year later, in 1944, 26 other people were sent to Auschwitz, and only 2 of them survived. And this monument is kind of very nice and very powerful because it's very simple. It's just a train wagon that is the same where the Jewish people were carried, and in front of it there are on the floor, on these kind of stripes, all the names of the people that died, and standing up the few people that survived. So it's really a powerful monument, and I like it very much. And there are 2 things that made me think. The first thing is when I took the image, I was there with my girlfriend at the time, and a guy passed by and do you really like that thing? I was, yes, I like it. And this guy started to be kind of aggressive, and he was a Muslim. And for me that was something that we must always try to sustain our ideas. And in that case, the idea was to calm down, but still want to, you are the wrong one. So don't bother me. I have the freedom to appreciate something. Also, if you actually still hate Jewish and actually if you still want to kill them, that's not me. So it's important to stand for our ideas in a case like that. And my idea is simple, that I have the freedom of think what I want, and I have the freedom to appreciate and photograph a monument. And a Muslim has not the freedom to just threaten me in some way just because I appreciate a monument to people that he don't like. So this is the first thing. And the second part is that in these days we are giving so many power to the governments, especially here in Italy and Europe. We are giving away all the power. With the excuse of the coronavirus, we even accepted something that is called the MES, that is a fund for emergencies, European fund, but that has the downside that basically you give all the powers to Europe, basically Germany, to tax and to decide what to do inside your territory. So it's a lot of power given away. And every day there are some new law and regulation, basically not laws, it's just regulation, that are implemented to restrict the freedom of the people. And when I say this is my small town, for example, there were people fined because they went in the cabin that they had in the hills alone. They went alone, they went to take care of the land and these kind of things, and they were fined for that because you cannot go out of your home or you risk to infect other people. But you ask yourself, how can a single person in the middle of nowhere in a hill just be a danger for other people. So there were a lot of things of this kind. We are in a situation where the police can stop you any moment and just ask you everything, and you have to sign it. If they decide that you did something wrong, that's a fine. In Milan, there was a protest by the restaurant owners that were really peaceful protests. They were sitting, keeping the distances with their mask on, to protest this too long lockdown of the restaurants, because they cannot reopen for sure. I mean, it's really tragic, the economical situation. But the police arrived and fined them 400 euros each for this. Same police, same government that didn't find the communists celebrating the liberation, the 25th of April, in the streets of Rome, or this kind of things. But there's another story. So the thing is, people is always thinking that something as the Holocaust, something as the situation we had in the 30s and 40s in Europe, was a situation that it cannot repeat, it cannot happen again, or there was something strange going on. Actually, if you look at this picture, what you have to understand is that the people that were carried on the train, yes, they were carried by an idea that Hitler had. They were carried by some, for sure, some very fanatic SS or things like that. But I think that 99% of the people that created the situation and helped to carry them on the train, they were just bureaucrats. And the problem is that the police forces at the time, they said, I'm just following an order. And the bureaucrats in their office that signed the deportation papers, they were saying, I'm just following orders. I cannot lose my job, or all this kind of justification. Actually, it was in the Nuremberg trial. I don't know to say it in German, so Nuremberg is for me. At the Nuremberg trial, after the World War II, the excuse of I'm just following an order was not totally accepted. And that's why in '53, for example, the USA Army in the regulation inserted some more concepts about the unlawful order. So the thing is, we are giving away some powers, and we are respecting the laws. We are implementing some regulation that has no basis. And for example, if the police that is fining someone, is giving fine to someone that is going to his cabin to take care of the land around without coming in contact with anybody, if not the same police, that police is doing something that is a lawful order or not. And we have to start to think about this in this moment, with the excuse of the COVID, with all the power that is grabbed by the governments. We have to start to ask ourselves, what is the limit? And most of all, the law enforcement agency and the single law enforcers, they have to start to think, is this right or not? Yesterday I was watching on Facebook a post of a friend, and I found this article interesting, and a video where the 1st of May in Sacramento, in California, there was a gathering in front of the Capitol Hill to protest, and there was all the police with riot uniform, anti-riot uniform, and all these kind of things. And the Marine veteran, that is Cordie Williams, he stood up with the megaphone, and he spoke to the police and started to tell them to wonder if it was right or not to stay there and to limit the freedom of the people to gather and protest. And it seems that the police went away after his speech. I don't know how much that was real, I mean, they can have received an order or something like that. But still, if you take a look at the link down below and you read the article and you watch the video, the words were of this Marine veteran were very, very inspiring. And that's the point. Is imagine if at this moment, in the 21st of November of 43, if a simple person, a simple uh, policeman, or a simple bureaucrat decide to say, I do not do that. This is wrong. I don't do that. In the 43, 21st of November, we were already after the 8th of September, so Italy was already in part liberated, and there was already an armistice signed and all these kind of things. So it was possible for someone to say, no, I don't do it, and I simply leave my salary and my place of work, and I do something different. But they didn't do it, and so this is the result. The problem is when the Europe arrived at the situation of the World War II and the craziness of the Holocaust and all these kind of things, um, we didn't arrive at that with big moment, big decision, someone that grabbed the power in an instant. There were no revolution made with weapons. Hitler, Mussolini, and so on. They didn't got power with the revolution. They went step by step, and they started with emergency situations. In that case, it was an economical emergency situation created by the crisis in the 20s, and it was the emergency situation created by all the violence created by the communists that after the 1917 started to be active also in Europe, and they started really to create a big problem. And we are talking about a lot of people killed, not just and a lot of violence, not just small problems. And with the situation, the people started to give more and more and more power to their governments just to feel safe, exactly as we are doing now with the virus. We are giving away all our powers to a government that is supposed to protect us. And by the way, the crazy thing is that in Italy, we are giving the power to the same people that created the mess. So we are one of the the worst country in the world about that mortality rate and number of contagious and all this kind of things. So everything they did from the beginning was wrong, and it was not wrong because um, you know it was wrong because the results are wrong. So for sure they did a lot of things wrong, but we still giving them more and more power, and we are not wondering if these powers are something good to give them or not. But most of all, the scary part is that a lot of people is thinking, no, this is too much. We have to start to go back to a normal life. We have to start to reopen. We have to start to apply something that is just tell the people to be careful, to continue to wear the masks and all these kind of things. So, but at the same time, let the business reopen and let the people live their life also with some common sense limit, but is their freedom to choose what to do. This is a lot of people is coming to this idea to let the freedom, but the problem is that you have on the other side the law enforcement that they are not thinking, and all the bureaucracy, they are not thinking is this right or not. They are thinking this is the law and I apply it, and it's exactly what happened in the 30s in Europe. Uh, we think that the responsibility is to the responsibility of the Holocaust is something that is on, on the SS or on Hitler, but the little bureaucrat in an office in a small town in Germany, they signed a paper saying, yes, this is a Jew and we have to deport him or her, and that bureaucrat was probably very, very responsible, probably a little more responsible than the others, because with just the fact of not signing a paper, he could have saved life. But he didn't. He said, that's the law, I respect it. And we are now in the same situation because there's all the bureaucracy that is going on and all the people that is just thinking you have to follow the rule. And this is what brought us to this situation. For example, in Italy, some doctors in the hospital, they saw this virus coming before it was here. When they started to read about the virus in China, they started to think this is a problem that will come to Italy, and they could not do anything. They could not say, I change how the hospital is made, or I change the procedures, or this kind of things. Some of them did that. They are risking. They are really risking to be sued and all these kind of things because they oppose the bureaucracy. So a simple doctor or a simple manager of an hospital decided, okay, this virus is coming. I have an area of the hospital that is empty. Just paint it and put some beds inside. He could not do that because there was the bureaucracy that forced it to do the international bid, the European bid, and all this kind of thing. So months and months just to decide to repaint the wall. And the people who did it probably will have a lot of legal problems after, because they didn't follow the rule, they didn't follow the bureaucracy. And so this is the things that made me think about this. And there's another thing that is very curious, that if you're in the USA, you have a constitution that is the greatest constitution in the world. And you have another thing, that there's this idea of the unlawful order. And there's the fact that if you are a soldier or if you are in law enforcement, usually your oath is to protect the Constitution. The final judge of your actions will be the Constitution. You look at Italy, you have an option to not follow an order that is given, but it's only if the order is against the state or make you commit a felony. But a felony, it was not a felony to kill Jews during in Germany during the Hitler times. It was the law. So that is crazy. But in USA, you have these things that tells you that you have to respect, first of all, the Constitution of America. And that is a huge difference, and that is what allows people to decide to have the courage to follow or not orders or to implement. You look around the USA, there are a lot of sheriff's departments that say we will not empower the rules created by our governors because we don't consider them legal or we don't consider them right. And that's something that you can do. That's an option that you have in the USA. We do not have it here in Italy, also because the law enforcement here is all of them managed directly by the government. We have the carabinieri are in the army actually, and the police that is from the government. But we don't have institutions like the sheriff office or others that have a lot of autonomy of decision. So this is what I start to think looking at this picture. And for me it's so important right now that we start to think about what is right and what is wrong. not what is legal and what is not, what is the rule and what is not the rule. It's not important what is the rule. This was the rule. This was the law. The law was to get the Jewish people, put them on a train, and send them to Auschwitz to be killed, or Dachau, or other places to be exterminated. This was the law. This was the something caused by the people telling, I'm just following the orders, I'm just following the law. We have to stop that, and we have to start to think what is right and what is wrong. And we could have saved millions of people if in the 30s. And when I say we, because I was born in Italy, I'm an European, so yes, it's we. We made a mistake. And at the point is, how many people could have been saved if we didn't make that mistake? If we had the balls to say, this is wrong, I don't sign the piece of paper if I'm a bureaucrat, or I don't follow that order if I'm a soldier, or I don't drive the train if I work for the railroad. All these kind of things. And yes, it was dangerous. And it's dangerous also now, because it's dangerous also now to not follow the orders, or to not do something that is in a rule that probably is created by a governor. It's totally illegal, it's totally against the Constitution, and it's just made that with the excuse of the COVID, and it's just made to promote an agenda that we all know what it is, because the agenda to grab more power from the people and give the power to the governments. But it's difficult and it's dangerous, but it's our duty to say, no, I will not do that. It's our duty, as the Marine veterans say in the video, it's our duty to think about it and to ask ourselves, do we want to sell our soul? And yes, that's the things that we have to answer. And remember that once you sold your soul for something, there's no way to buy it back. It's not possible. The consequences will be too big even for you to consider. So be careful and ask yourself what is right to do and what you have to do. And if you are a bureaucrat or something like that, it's even more important. Ask yourself, do you have to sign that piece of paper? Do you have to give that fine? Do you have to arrest that person? That's the question that must be asked right now. It's the most important time of our lives to go back and think about values, and think about moral, and think about freedom, and think about all those values that made us be men, made us be positive men, good people or bad people. And you can arrive at this. If you give the wrong answer, it will not be probably a train, because times changed, and will probably another form, but it can be bankruptcy, it can be forcing the people to kill themselves because they don't know anymore what to eat, or starve people, or all these kind of things. But you will have that responsibility. Thank you for watching. As usual, please go to check my image in the link below, so you will see the image on my website. Put a like if you enjoyed the video, say a comment, share with your friends, subscribe to my page, and most of all, keep creative, stay free, and stay free in your mind, and have fun if you can. Thank you very much.